Yummy. Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Liverpool have lost, Liverpool are out, and I'm going to go through 4 key elements from this game against Real Madrid. 6-2 they went out on aggregate, and the final one, am I crazy? That's the question really I'm going to ask, because I felt like something could have been done. It wasn't done. It would have been different, but it would have been different. Liverpool fans, I'm intrigued to know how you're feeling about this one, so get involved in the comments. I will be reading all of them, and I will be taking off my headphones because I don't know why I've got them on anymore. But the reason I did have them on, of course, was because I was watching the game, wasn't I? Let's dive into the statistics, otherwise known as statistics. If you are new to the channel, please do consider hitting the subscribe button and the like button if you feel like you got something out of it by the end of it. I would massively appreciate it. So, in terms of expected goals, 2.15 to 0.49 for Real Madrid. Felt like there was a lot of control there for Real Madrid throughout the game. Liverpool struggled to lay a glove on them. Had a couple of moments in the first half that I think if you have that clinical edge that Liverpool don't seem to have anymore. I just recorded a video actually that's going to come out next week looking at different areas of teams and where they are having massive weaknesses. And for Liverpool, spoiler alert, it's around that idea. Back to the stats though, and back to what was brilliant about Real Madrid, because I think the first thing that I want to talk about is that Ancelotti is just the juice on this guy. He is the exception. He's the exception when it comes to management. I mean, I'm sort of halfway through listening to his book. I sort of keep going in and out of it, but it's so interesting. Simplicity is genius with this man, and the way he puts this team together. Most managers these days, you have to have a decision on how you want to play. This is how I play. Jurgen Klopp has a way of playing. Ancelotti, he just doesn't have time for that. And I'm trying to think of sort of another person that's kind of similar to him, and I want to go towards someone like Phil Jackson, Phil Jackson's was the Chicago Bulls and LA Lakers coach, and even he has had an offense which was called the triangle that he wanted to play. I mean, to be honest, the idea of this tactic within basketball, stay with me guys, was that the triangle provided options and freedom. And that's kind of what Ancelotti does. What Ancelotti does, and this is where I think he sort of outmanaged Klopp somehow, and it was done not today, it was done, 18 months ago when he sort of came into the job. He has a team there that has players doing what they do best. It's strengths-based coaching or management. And it works so well. And there's areas where you go, well, that shouldn't work. That you shouldn't be, you'll be a bit lopsided. He doesn't care. He's not bothered about balance at all. And you can see that in the average positions. But there's balance in the average positions to a point because of how they set up. And he just doesn't care because the roles fit the players. That's what he does. He goes, what have I got here? Okay, Valverde, for example. Valverde has got legs, so let's use those legs. We've got one player who's unbelievable in terms of dribbling. We want to get him on the ball as much as possible. So what we're going to do, we're going to focus down that left-hand side. Constantly. And because we've got Valverde, he can clean up over the rest of this. But I don't care about attacking down the right-hand side. Modric, he wants to scurry about. He wants to get into different areas. He wants to come over to different areas whenever he wants. He was a bit more structured today. In the last game, he came over to his left-hand side a huge amount more and actually created a massive overload on that left-hand side. In this game, he's just being that little bit more conservative to try and stop Liverpool defensively. But again, he's allowing him to do what he wants to do. We'll come back to Camavinga. Yummy. Right, I'm going to have to explain that. So I tweeted saying he was yummy, and then people got angry about it, and I apologised and said I wouldn't do it again, but then they all said, well, you got to talk about it in your video, so that's what I'm doing now, okay? I've got it out of my system. Back to the average positions. He was good. But Cruz and Camavinga and how they sort of dovetail each other, again, sort of allows these players to do what they're great at all the time and stay away from what they're weak at all the time. in terms of the fullbacks, they don't really have great fullbacks. So those fullbacks stay in their position and they're steady, technically solid, right, in terms of Nacho. But it's, oh God, it's just refreshed there. But it's about your best players doing the things that they're great at. The hold-up play from Benzema, he wants to drift over to the left. Okay, that's fine. We'll play an asymmetric 4-4-2 and we'll allow these two players, 9 and 20, to be our front two, and we'll just get to the byline and score goals that way. It's so smart. It looks lopsided, but who cares? They've won the Champions League and they could easily do it again. Liverpool's midfield, I thought, struggled. I mean, the bottom line here is that he wanted to give Jota a free role. I thought at the start of the game that kind of worked and dislodged the opposition a little bit. I thought Gakpo you were hoping he would have those moments of composure. He didn't when he needed to. They had to score. They had to score in the first half, and they didn't score in the first half. But I think the easy thing is to go for the midfield here. The thing that you could say, look, the midfield did what they were told to do, but the midfield, their mindset has changed. Now, people will throw this idea that at least have a go at them. And I think there is an element in that, but I actually think that's more on Klopp than the players out on the pitch. Because that midfield for Real Madrid is so strong and so narrow a lot of the times. It's difficult in that midfield area. And what you had with Milner and Fabinho in particular, is you had players that were trying to screen. More so than trying to mark the opposition. That seems to be the big difference. Previously, Milner would have been higher up, kind of where his heat map was, but that was where he was touching the ball, obviously, more than he was making tackles. And he was trying his best, but bless him, 37, he's got to deal with Modric and Valverde. The bottom line here is that Liverpool don't have that star power in midfield, and the system was so strong previously, and the front three was so brilliant previously, so mobile, so tenacious, so clinical, that they could kind of get away with it. But now the system feels a little bit broken, or it's certainly not as fluent. The pressing isn't there, and you've got these players kind of screening a little bit. You had the other two, forwards who were sort of dropping deep to help out in Jota at times, Gakpo as well at times. But it's just not as fluent. And so numerous times, Real Madrid were able to walk their way up the pitch. There were spaces. You had the energy of Valverde, as I've spoken about. And that midfield too sort of huffed and puffed and did the best they could, but sort of got found out a little bit. You haven't got someone who can really drive past players, take players out of the game. And if you're going to have two of them there, then the front four have really got to excel. And I've thought that generally, Real Madrid defended very well, created that good screen, and the players in between weren't able to get on the ball and turn. Let's talk about Vinicius Jr. Like, the guy works his socks off. He is dangerous. So dangerous. And there's been a lot of you've got to target Trent. I get that. I think it's less about targeting Trent, who had a tough night tonight. But put any right back there, they are going to struggle with this guy. He is exceptional when it comes to dribbling. Let's have a look at the player stats here. I don't know if it's going to come up on this bit. Oh, well, great, good. In terms of, say, duels, for example, he is so involved, Vinicius Jr., 15, more duels than anyone else. Where's his attacking? Let's have a look at his dribbles. Dribble attempts, 9. 4 of those completed, but just so effective. And I think it's one of those where you could chuck this into the folder of look where Trent got done. I think anyone's getting done by him. He's almost been unfortunate. He's had to play Vinicius Jr. every single time. And I think this is the exciting thing if you're a Real Madrid fan, is that as, the Benzemas and the Modric's are leaving, you've got Tchouaméni, who came on for Cruz, who had a really strong game. You've got Camavinga, who we've got to talk about as well. And so the guys who are the present and the future in Vinicius Jr. and Camavinga are something else. Absolutely something else. What's going to be interesting to see is who do Real Madrid bring in to allow Vinicius Jr. to thrive? And is Vinicius Jr. still the A-side if you bring in Mbappe? If you bring in Mbappe, what are you doing with Vinicius Jr.? Because they both want to kind of play in that similar area. So you're going to, at some stage, need to replace someone like Benzema. So who is the guy that you bring in to replace Benzema? That's going to be really interesting. And even someone like Victor Osimhen, who I know is linked with quite a few teams, if he's linked with Real Madrid and goes to Real Madrid, again, has he got that hold-up play that Benzema has? Because Benzema gets on the ball, slows it down, drifts to that left-hand side and leaves that space in behind. Something that kind of Darwin Núñez was trying to do for Liverpool in this one. I do want to talk about what I said at the start of the video, which is like, am I crazy here? Because isn't it the definition of being crazy is doing the same thing again and again, expecting different results? Liverpool needed 3 goals in this game, and I felt at half-time that there was a switch that could have been made. One thing I will say before I just get into this is I tweeted about this as well. Liverpool were a little bit too honest. I thought the ref gave them absolutely nothing in this game, and there were moments where they could have gone down. I think Harvey Elliott had a chance. Look, are you ever going to get 3 goals? No. And did Real Madrid miss numerous big chances? Yes. So I don't think it would have made a massive difference, but it did feel like the ref was kind of on the home team's side in this one. Let me show you this. So I think an important thing here is that as we know, we all know this, right? We all know that Real Madrid are going to go down. Oh, we might not have it on this one. That's such a shame. Oh, I don't think we do. That's such a shame. Okay, so basically, I'll put a screenshot up now. So you'll see a screenshot now. In the screenshot, you can see that the focus for Real Madrid is down that right-hand side. There is no focus on their right-hand side. Sorry, their focus is down the left-hand side with Vinicius Jr., okay? So what I didn't understand is you had someone like Darwin Núñez who got on the ball out wide at times, but often was sort of getting sucked in and looking, constantly coming narrow. We can see it. Let me show you from his average positions. And this isn't me having a go at Darwin Núñez before you start. What I'm saying is that you can see that, okay, he touches the ball out wide here sometimes, but not often. Now, again, this isn't about Darwin Núñez. This is more a tactical thing on Klopp. And I'm sure there's a reason why I'm missing this. And please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But for me, when you've got, if we're doing what Ancelotti does, a very, very successful manager, think about the opposition's weaknesses and, more importantly, concentrate on your strengths. And I really, really felt with that congested nature on that side of the pitch that I know it's not something you do often, and Salah got on the ball more and more in central areas, as you can see here from his heat map. But him out wide did nothing. He did absolutely nothing because you had so many bodies for Real Madrid on this left-hand side screening it. Camavinga was able to move over there, but Tony Cruz. And also, you know, when they got the ball, they were going to go down that left-hand side as well. So there wasn't going to be that space. The space was on the other side of the pitch. And the one thing that Trent can do, if you think about this area of the pitch here, Trent can play that pass. And less so where you're touching the ball, but where you're starting, I felt like a trick was massively missed here. And it's something that actually they've done quite well. But if you'd had an out-and-out winger there, now this might be one for Luis Diaz, but I would have loved to have seen Salah move over to that left-hand side. I know he always plays on the right-hand side. I get it, but you weren't getting any joy from there. But that would allow someone like Trent to get on the ball and switch it 60 yards, which we've seen him do numerous times, allow Robertson to go on the counter-attack or underlap. The guy can do both, obviously. And stretch the play and get the play down the other side of the pitch and look to maybe press that side if it doesn't work out. And look to do what are the strengths of this Liverpool side in terms of 2 world-class players. Trent AlexanderArnold in terms of playing those switches. Mohamed Salah in terms of being one-on-one against the opposition. Against someone like Carvajal, who obviously in a team full of great players, he's one of the weaker links that you can get at. I just thought that they really didn't do that because even if you let Robertson cheat, which he did at times, he's not going to dribble past. He just isn't that kind of player. So I would have liked to have seen that change because that whole area of the pitch, which is an area, even if it's not an area of weakness, is an area of space. It wasn't used and it wasn't stretched by Liverpool, a team that needed the goals. I just didn't get it. Or even if you want to put JaackMaate out there and tell him to stay wide, hug the touchline because Trent will find you. It just seemed like an absolute no-brainer for me, and they didn't do it. I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I don't feel like I am, to be honest. And I know Salah's played that on that side. He's been glorious there. But it's obviously not working, and obviously wasn't working. And then vertically, there wasn't that space in behind because Real Madrid were very switched on. And Rudiger, again, had a really, really great game there. But look, you can see him here. He's ready to drop. He's ready to go there all the time. He can deal with it. So use this space over on the other side. It just seemed like an obvious thing for me to do, for if I was Klopp. But he didn't want to do it. He didn't see it. And he knows more than me. It's just my thought. Guys, let me know how you're feeling about this. Am I crazy? Is there any justice in what I'm saying? Justice? It's probably the wrong word. Justification. Struggling with the words tonight. If you enjoyed this one, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I'll see you next time.